Hello.
Good evening.
I guess you can hear me.
No, I didn't hear a word you said.
Okay. Great. How are you, Steve?
I'm doing well, thanks, Deacon. How about you?
Good, good.
Mm,
You know, Steve, um, last year, Penny talked to me about cutting oak trees
Yes,
and um and that didn't work out, but I was wondering about this year.
you mean us cutting oak trees?
Well, I described to her how I cut small oak trees for shiitake sticks, and she seemed to be interested in having me cut some at near you. I don't know.
Oh. Well,
I mean,
you use about 6-inch diameter, right?
or less.
Or less. And about a month, well, maybe 6 weeks ago, we had many oaks on the south side of our house cut down, but these were like big oaks,
Uh-huh.
like a foot or more,
Uh-huh.
in prep for solar.
Oh my. And what happened to the tops?
Well, the tops, and she probably forgot, they got shredded.
Oh shit.
All the slash got,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
but we don't, I'm trying to think, we don't really have. Say again? Oh, we may have a few, actually, Deacon, that we cut
Of
down
the
from.
smaller trees.
Yeah, we may have a few. How long do you need them?
Well, oh, I I I cut into 40-inch sticks, 40-inch pieces. And
Okay,
and for diameters ranging from 3 through 6.
okay, we probably have some stuff kicking around like that. And knowing that you use 40 inches, I can cut them up. And we probably don't have a huge number, but it's still, we might have like maybe a total of 6 to 8, I'm guessing.
6 to 8 trees.
Yeah, 6 to 8 40 inchers in that diameter range.
I mean, 6 to 8 40-inch pieces, or 6
Yeah.
to 8 trees that include them.
No, pieces, but I'll talk
Oh,
with
that's
Penny
not
after.
worth it. That's not
Yeah.
worth it.
No,
Steve.
no, I'll talk with Penny after and see what she has in mind. She may be thinking of something I'm not.
Okay.
So, but we'll keep you in mind.
Well, I see that I see that we have a quorum. Are you ready to start, Carrie?
Yes, I am. And I apologize for not being at the select board meeting. I just saw your email about a half hour ago. Because of Easter yesterday, I wasn't on my computer. I was with family, and then I had to work this morning, so I didn't get to my laptop until
Well,
about
yeah, I mean,
5:30.
yeah, well, that executive session stuff was all, it's all going to be okay. I mean, Becky and I talked about it ahead of time anyway. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, so we'll follow up on it.
Okay.
So let me call the meeting to order and see if there's public comment. I'm not seeing anybody here except planning board people.
Just us chickens.
No one wanted to come to our party.
Deacon, I could go get Penny to be public if you want.
Does she have a question?
No, but I could make, she might come up with one.
She could say something. Well, I put Mark Whiteman down for 7:30. Why don't we move to energy storage?
Okay. Jeff, you want me to kick it off and you can correct me or whatever?
You bet. Go for it.
So Jeff and I met with Donna earlier today to discuss the issue that arose. And basically, we're gonna keep this discussion short and brief, which I'll, for reasons I'll get to in a minute, but basically, Wendell's solar bylaw that had a standalone energy storage provision got rejected by the AG recently, and so I shared that around, and so the basis of the discussion was about that. And we were, Jeff and Donna and I came up with an approach to how we wanted to deal with that, given Shutesbury's interest and including energy storage in our solar bylaw. What Donna recommended is that because this is clearly connected to litigation regarding to the complaint that the town got, that the planning board should actually discuss the contents of the letter that might get forwarded in executive session, so that we're not doing it in a public session. It becomes a public document once the letter gets sent. But in terms of the development of the contents and review of the contents, which we can do at a meeting, it would be an executive session. So I think her advice was not to get into the contents of any draft letters until we have executive session. I think the only thing else I would add is that I volunteered to write the draft. And then since we're going to see if the select board wants to do it, share it with Donna and other people who might be interested, below a quorum, just to get feedback so that we have a draft that comes to the planning board executive session that's been vetted and Donna approves of, et cetera. How'd I do, Jeff?
Pretty good.
What'd I miss?
Well, the impetus for this letter, before we got the complaint from Coles, was that Wendell's standalone ESS prohibition was rejected by the AG, not necessarily their regulation of it in conjunction with solar, but they like we have a prohibition on standalone, and that was thrown out by the Office of Attorney General. So that was our initial concern, is that we have a similar provision and we don't want it thrown out. So the idea of a preemptive, proactive letter to the AG explaining what we're doing here with our ESS prohibition was in order. And then subsequent to that, the appeal from Coles came along. So it's since morphed into not only a defense of our position on ESS standalone, but also a justification of the bylaw itself. So all combined into one letter. And that's linked to the complaint that we got. So it's a legal matter. So that's why it should all be done in executive session.
Okay. And the only thing I would add that you just reminded me of is that if you all remember with our associate member legislation, we learned that you can't appeal a decision by the Attorney General. So we're hoping to communicate with the Attorney General prior to them making a decision.
Let's talk about time frame.
Let's. So we had a sense of urgency, and Donna sort of affirmed that that's prudent. So I actually started drafting something this afternoon after we got off the call with Donna. I'm hoping this week to finalize something. And then I was going to share it out with a couple of people to get feedback. So the select board said that they're not meeting till April 25th, so they could review it and decide if they want to send it along with us at that point. Jeff's leaving town on the 24th for 2 weeks. And our next regular scheduled meeting is May 8th, which is the day before Jeff returns. Not that Jeff is the center of the universe, but just as an FYI. I don't know if anyone else has other things. So depending, we could either shoot for you know, May 10th or something like that, or we could just do it on our May 8th meeting, knowing that at least Jeff won't be there, but it's just a majority vote to approve, so I think that's as much timing as I know.
Okay, well, one thing I would say is that we're not necessarily held to the default meeting dates. I mean,
Correct.
if we want to schedule a meeting to deal with this at some other time, it's totally doable.
Yeah, I think we should. Can I ask two quick questions? One is, and maybe this is a speculative, you can only answer speculatively. Does the AG extending the period of review of our solar bylaw have anything to do with, you think, with AMP Cole's thing? That's question one.
I don't think they're aware of it.
Okay,
It seems like they're parallel tracks and not.
It's
But-
probably just the AGO swamped with bylaws.
okay. Then the other question is relating to the ESS. And maybe this starts to get into the letter you're drafting, and if it does, I'll just drop it, but our ESS bylaw connects it to public health, welfare, and safety. And I know in the AG letter that I read about Wendell, actually the town did not make that connection, let alone the planning board did not make that connection. But so is that getting into territory of your letter?
Sort of, yeah. I guess I would say, without getting into the details, that we think our approach originally was a good one, and we just want to reinforce and underscore it. So that it's everyone who's making decisions has as much information and background information, given our rationales.
Okay. Okay, that's it.
Sorry to be brief in that.
We can be less brief later on when we discuss this legal matter in executive session.
So Jeff, since do you care about being part of the vote? Since presumably, you might be one of the people who is getting a chance to get feedback on this?
You mean with the May meeting, whether to make it or not?
Yeah, do we do it, because we could meet. If I actually got this written by the end of the week, we could meet the week of the 24th, just like the select board is, and get it done before May. Or it could just, we could wait until May 8th, but even at the regular scheduled meeting, you would be there. So since you were on the call with Donna and have more background, we can wait a little bit for you to return, or we can move ahead, presumably, with now that we've had a conversation with Donna and we know where Donna stands.
Yeah. I don't suppose I need to be at the planning board meeting on the 8th. If we can wrap it up. Yeah. I just, all right, so what's the question?
My question is, being that you and I were part of this conversation with Donna, and I'm going to draft this, knowing that Donna's going to have eyeballs on it going forward, and I'm going to share this with some people just to get feedback on what I draft, not as a working group, but as individuals, members who might have feedback. Do you feel like when we're scheduling a meeting for executive session, you want to be part of it and need to be part of it?
You mean having an executive session before I leave?
No, while you're gone.
Ah.
So you wouldn't be there. It's like, do you care if we do it without you, basically?
No, provided I've reviewed it and had input into it before I go, which is, you know, I thought it's 2 weeks. No. No.
Who's involved in the executive session?
We have,
Planning board.
we have to make sure we got enough people, and Nathan is probably not going to be participating in this, so you take Nathan and me out, that's 5 of us.
What about, could this be done fast enough so that we could have this, the 17th or the 19th?
Sure.
Because we could just have a quick meeting devoted just to this and get it done in advance of the select board.
Yeah, that actually probably makes sense. So they would know where we stand on it. Yeah, I'll work on it this week, and I can, you know, at minimum, everyone would have it this weekend to review, but I think, well, you know, the only problem with that, Deacon, is I don't know if Donna will be able to look at it that quick.
Why don't we ask?
Yeah, I mean, she's been good. So.
Well, I mean, if there's an interest in doing it quick, I mean, that'd be the fastest.
Without a doubt. Well, why don't we plan on that? You know, we could post a meeting on the 17th or the 19th would give a little bit more time for Donna. If either one of those, if that works for everybody. And then if we can't do it, we could just scrap the meeting and push it back a little bit.
Yeah, and I would know, I mean, we're only gonna need a quorum of 4 for this, so.
Right. And it should be a long conversation. I mean, half an hour max, I would assume.
I have a minor thing. My my knee is being replaced on the 13th. I assume that I'll be able to find my computer is a PC downstairs. I assume I'll be able to access it, but I want to just state that for the record.
That's helpful. And I actually, looking at my calendar, the 17th is better than the 19th. So
I'm not sure how happy I'll be on the 17th, but
yeah,
we'll see.
Well, so Michael, why don't you, well, how about you just ask Donna if there's enough time for her to review it? If you have enough time to work with Jeff and get it written and for her to review it, so we could schedule it, and I could schedule it after you'd had those conversations.
that's true. And just for protocol's sake, I'm gonna write it and then I'll send it to some people for feedback, but we're not gonna have a working group on this or a subcommittee.
Okay, understood. But we'll get back to me.
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
Michael,
Yes,
I'd like to be one of those people who review it.
okay. You gonna send me some chocolate or something so you get in the queue?
Chocolate chip
I'm eating some right now.
Okay.
All right.
I think that's all for now, right?
Well, I was about to ask that question. Yeah.
Did we agree on a date? I mean, I would prefer it be as far out into next week as possible. You know, just to give us as much time as we can and give Donna time. You know, the 17th is a week. That's short term.
Can we do the 20th?
I can.
Jeff Weston's knee can.
I assume I'll be able to. I assume that will be okay. I might do it on a phone.
What kind of surgery are you having?
My knee is being replaced.
Replacement, yeah.
I can do it on the 20th, so long as it's not at 5 o'clock.
Okay. Well, we could do our 7 o'clock usual if that works for people.
That would be fine for me.
Robert can do 20th at 7.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great, well, let's shoot for it.
And Carrie, it's not essential you're there, but can you make it?
I was just gonna say, I can most likely make it. I don't believe Conservation Commission is meeting twice a month yet. They're meeting this Thursday and they usually meet every other Thursday, so if they were to, it should be the 27th, but if I hear anything else, I'll say something.
Great. Penny's got her hand up.
My recollection is that starting in April, the commission meets twice a month.
Okay. I was out all last week, so I haven't really talked to Miriam yet.
Okay, so tentatively we've got a plan. And Deacon, I can just, do you want to
You can
post
get in
it?
touch with me and if it works, it works.
Okay, cool,
So this is gonna be an executive session.
correct.
Okay. And do we have Donna there or has Donna reviewed it ahead of that?
I think we should. I think, given our prior conversation with the select board, why don't we try to save Donna's time, and if she's reviewed it and give feedback, it's just us.
Okay, sounds good.
It's 150 an hour,
Still a deal, all things considered.
still a deal.
All right, and if we approve it, then we're hoping to get the select board to sign on at their next meeting.
Yeah, on the 25th, and
Okay,
I'd be happy to go to that one, Deacon, if you want to go as well, but
Sure, sure.
I will be safely away.
Where are you going, Jeff?
England and Scotland.
Well, you've been there before.
I love it over there. Yep.
He loves warm beer.
And good land use planning. They don't muck up their countryside.
Yeah. My grandfather was born in Glasgow.
Ah, we're gonna be 4 or 5 days in Edinburgh.
Yeah. Well, a lot nicer.
I'm sure there's a lot of planning board wonks who just go on tours of, England and Scotland for land use planning tours. And they ooh and they ah.
Well, about 10 years ago, I learned through my planners listserv that there was actually a show in England, a TV show called The Planners. And it went for only one season. I think there was 8 episodes, and I watched one of them. And they actually made a show about, people like me who go out and look at sites and write reports and and get in little arguments with landowners and stuff. It was hysterical, but they managed to do it, and only in England would they think planning was that interesting.
Yeah, but take note, only one season.
It's always good when a show doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I've not seen minutes for 3:13. So why don't we say whatever we want to say about the Wheelock annual report?
I read it and felt it was fairly accurate about what they've done out there with the road and the drainage ditches and the basin and whether all that work is satisfactory to us, I guess we have to decide, but yeah, it was pretty much like the other reports, they and how much energy they generated and when there were problems and what the problems were, which yeah, it seemed like an okay report to me. Anybody else read it?
I actually missed it in my inbox, so I'm opening it now, so I mean, if it's okay to put it on the agenda for next time, it'd be nice just to sort of have, especially given our future journey in solar, it'd be good to sort of maybe
Yeah.
have other people discuss it a little bit more. So my apologies.
Well, I'm in the same position as you. But that seems good. That seems good. Well, we're running right through the agenda items other than Mark Whiteman.
We
the
probably
next one,
we probably want to tread water until 7:30 since that's when it's supposed to start.
yeah, that's my thought.
You know, I will say about the Wheelock that the basin, they did some work on the basin. They talk about it a little bit in the report, and we've been out and we've looked at it. You know, it seems like that basin is kind of turned into some type of hybrid creature that wasn't what they described on the plans in the beginning, because it's not fully a retention basin. It never really dries out. There's always some water in there. The retention basin is supposed to fully drain into the soil and dry out. This one always has water. It may have a little less water now, especially in the southern part of it, where they successfully mucked it out a little bit. But up in the northern area, it seems to hold water pretty good, which makes it more of a detention basin than a retention basin. There are a couple of overflows. You know, there's one that's below the rim that kind of lets the water out slowly but surely, brings it down to a certain level. And there's also a weir that's up higher for emergency. If the whole thing's filled up, it would go over the weir, and that would be the emergency discharge. So I think what we ultimately have to decide is whether this hybrid creature basin that seems to do its job, because we went into the woods and looked for any signs of erosion or sedimentation and couldn't find any. It seems to do its job if we're going to just pronounce it okay, or do something else, like make them do something else to try to get it to retain water and not detain water.
Yeah. That would be a good conversation. I mean, it also, Jeff, your comment sort of inspired me to think that if we talk about it next month, since we don't have any special permits in front of us, it's a good opportunity to sort of maybe, as much as we can, sort of step back and say, are there things that we learned from this real life that we just want to make note of before we have something in front of us again? And I don't know what that might be, but it seems like that's a prudent approach.
Yeah,
And it could,
right, because the soil testing there was represented as soil that would facilitate infiltration and, you know, result in a basin that completely infiltrated the water. And it didn't quite work out that way. I mean, not that that's causing any great harm. It's actually created a little wetland, a little habitat in there. The basin doesn't quite have the capacity it otherwise would if it's fully emptied out. But again, it doesn't. Now that the project's matured and there's less problematic runoff from it, that doesn't seem like it now needs that capacity.
yeah, there's I'm just sort of skimming this, but like a conversation about the success of the pollinator approach or lack thereof. Like that's the kind of stuff I think it'd be good to just sort of, I mean, everyone's jumped on the pollinator bandwagon, but we have something that we can look at and make some.
This was never designed to be, this was never designed to be pollinator friendly. That was not part of the original decision.
It was, I think it was in there.
It was supposed to, well, that was before we did the pollinator language. That came along later in the bylaw.
Yeah.
Oh, so the special permit didn't have that? I
No.
thought it did.
No,
Oh,
it had wildflower meadow,
ah,
you know. We thought that would be nice.
I think the pollinator friendly stuff came up after the state started giving a break to the utilities that created pollinator friendly areas.
Yeah. It's everywhere now.
Yeah. So why, I see that Mr. Whiteman is now here. Why don't we move on to discussion of his project?
Okay. The last time we were here, we had a permit. It looked like it was almost ready to go. But I expressed a desire not to vote on it because in order to exercise the permit, Mr. Whiteman's going to have to go to the ZBA, of which I'm chair. So I'd like to keep a little distance from this one, if possible. So we needed to round up more members for voting. Trying to figure out if we've got them or not. Yeah, I think 1, 2. To approve a special permit, we need 5. So we have it without me.
Everybody's here.
Okay. So I have the permit. It may not be entirely finished. Mr. Whiteman's brought up some concerns, and there's been some discussion and debate about what we're actually permitting here. So if I'm allowed permission to share, I'll put up the latest version, and it has.
Wish you would.
Okay, let's see. Screen share. Which one is it? It must be this one. Okay, here's the permit from last time. Can people see that, or you want me to make it bigger?
That's okay.
All
At least
right.
for me.
All right. So I think there's 2 areas that we need to talk about. This permit is written for 1 single family dwelling and accessory structures, which could be an accessory apartment. And it reiterates that a few times. This is because that's what was applied for. The special permit is for a single family dwelling. I checked. And during the first episode of the public hearing, Mr. Whiteman's representative, speaking for him, repeatedly said, single family dwelling is all my client wants. Single family dwelling is all. And so, and I listened to that tape today. So that's what he said over and over and over again. Plus, that's what was applied for. And let's see, I listened to the next tape, and it wasn't really dealt with. The fact that the upper limit could be 2 single family dwellings. It could be a duplex. It could be a single family dwelling with accessory apartment. There's a number of things that you could do there. But what was applied for was less than that. Mr. Whiteman wishes to be able to do a duplex, he said. So we need to talk about that. And I'm going to remind the board that the way this is written is that with non-subdivision proposals like this one, the planning board has the ability to exercise discretion and weigh the benefits and detriments of permitting more dwelling units than otherwise would be allowed without the bylaw, without this particular bylaw. And in this case, I believe that would be 0. So anything above 0 is more than he could get otherwise. And my take on that bylaw is that we have the ability to trim the maximum if we wish. So anyway, that's one issue, and I'll just mention the other one. These are the issues that I saw. There's some question about the driveway, if we're serving a single-family dwelling or we're serving a duplex. And what kind of driveway width do we want? That's another thing to consider. And then down here in the conditions, condition 6, vegetative barrier. We had this condition done right up to here. So it talks about a vegetative barrier. But we were also, there's also the possibility that in the alternative, the applicant may reach a monetary agreement with the owner of the eastern abutting residence. This is new text. In such case, evidence of such agreement shall be brought to the planning board, and this condition will be stricken by vote of the planning board. So if instead of the ARBs, there's some financial settlement reached between the parties, then they bring evidence in and then we won't enforce this condition. This is a little odd, and this is, you know, maybe Michael has something to say because he just went to a permitting writing seminar, but this is my best shot at writing this condition here. So those are the issues I see with this permit as it stands.
You want to start from the top?
Sure, here we are.
Okay, well, I'll just chime in. So I listened to the February video, and which was the first meeting that Mark came to, and then I looked at the special permit. And I think my take, Jeff, is that the single family is on target, but I'll just sort of background. So the permit does say in a couple of places a single residential lot. In one spot, and then another place it says a single family residence. Actually, in 2 places it's single family. So the paperwork says single family. In the February discussion, there was clarification that the limit on what can get built is that it's a single driveway. And so the 3 things that it can be as a result is either a duplex, which a single structure, but a duplex, a single structure, single family residence, or a single family residence with an accessory apartment that's meets the qualifications of an accessory structure. So those were the 3 that got addressed in the video when we were having the meeting, but the documentation of the actual application does speak to a single family residence, which is one of those. So for me, I think I would go with the single family residence, both for the application part and also because we've had extensive conversation about minimizing the traffic and the impact on the existing residences. And since the default is 0 buildings, as you point out, 1 building is more than 0, so it's still a benefit to doing this. That would be my 2 cents.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I guess I can chime in at this point.
Well, I was going to just see if anyone else on the board had, Mark, and then we can. I'm sure you have a thought. But
Well, I've got a thought, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm appalled.
Robert just requesting what Mr. Whiteman would like.
I'm not sure if that allows me to speak.
Oh, please do speak.
At the last meeting, it was suggested that I was pulling some sort of trick out of my hat to allow myself to have a single family or a duplex or a single family with an additional dwelling unit. And I was told by 2 board members that I'd made those comments in the prior meeting, which is absolutely fabrication. That didn't happen. No one's discussed that tonight. No one's apologized for those comments that were made. That is not something that I said. What I asked was after Mr. Lacy had stated what could be built on that property, I reiterated exactly what he said to me. And I said, thank you for the clarification. That was the end of the discussion. Whether you decide to approve this or whether you decide to approve it being a single family house is up to you. I agree that a single family house probably makes the most sense. But what I did not say in the last meeting was not a change of what I said in the prior meeting to that. And I was taken back by 2 board members that made those comments on tape to suggest that that is something that I had said when I knew for a fact that I did not, and proved that by watching the tape. Tonight, you both have made comments regarding the meetings and going back to what I expressed to you in the beginning was written by an amateur, best I can do, someone who hasn't had a lot of experience in engineering and these sorts of things. And he felt the single family, definitions he was using for single family dwelling, he felt was the same as saying residential lot, which is what you folks call it. I did not in the last meeting say that my interest was to have a duplex on the property. I said, do I have that option to have a duplex on the property? We can go back and watch that tape too if you'd like. And because of that, I agree that a single family house, because of the neighbor, makes the most sense for this. I was trying to reiterate what I said in the previous meeting, which is, what are my options? The options were given to me by Mr. Lacy. I agreed to them. And that's all that I had said in that meeting regarding this. I was not trying to pull something on the young man, which was being suggested to this last meeting. You folks are going to do what you want to do with this. I've made my comments regarding that. I think that an apology is due. I don't think that I'm going to find an apology from this board. This has been a long, arduous process. Special permits are not simple, and I understand that. I appreciate your time, what you do for volunteerism in Shutesbury, but I don't think it's been handled very nicely and very reasonably in this last meeting, the discussions that we had. The accusations that were made should be addressed, and should be an apology should be made by this board and the people that spoke negatively toward what I said.
All right, well, I'm going to give you an apology for my confusion over who said what. After listening to the first hearing tape where you weren't there, where your representative was, and then the second tape when you were there, I confused what your representative said repeatedly at the first hearing meeting with having you said it. I just confused who was saying what. I mean, nonetheless, your representative was representing you and repeatedly clarified to us that all you were seeking was a single family dwelling. I'm sorry that I thought that you said that instead of him.
Yeah, and I'll just chime in, Mark, if I can. I mean, I think.
I'd like to address what Mr. Lacy just said.
Oh, sure, okay.
I was incapacitated, unable to be at the meeting. I had had a conversation with him prior, explaining to him that a residential dwelling unit, a residential dwelling lot, and a single family house lot were not the same thing. It's a little bit different of a terminology than I've seen used in other towns. Residential lot, nothing wrong with it. It makes a lot of sense once you understand it, but it does not preclude. It allows multiple things instead of just a single family house, as you guys well know. He's not well versed in these things. I apologize, and I had apologized in the last meeting, explained to you that I could go through the permit with a pen and change it to residential dwelling instead of single family lot. But my feeling is that it's been read, it's been looked at by neighbors, it's been looked at by people in town. So I understand your position on this. I understand that you're looking at one single family dwelling, and it makes sense because of what was put in front of the board. It was a mistake by my engineering company. It was not what I had planned on. After speaking or hearing from the neighbor next door, I think it's what the neighbor is hoping for, is a single residential lot. You have the right to vote that in, and I'm in full agreement with that. I just don't like the way it was handled.
Well, I'll just chime in, Mark. I mean, I think you're referring to me as the other person.
I don't remember who it was. I don't really care.
Okay, well, I do.
Well, I'm glad you do now.
Yeah, well, no, because I didn't remember, I don't remember myself doing that, but I watched the video, and 100% you were seeking clarification. I mean, I think you repeatedly said you try to restate. So let me understand what I can do, what my options are. I think that's very clear. I mean, I understood it at the last meeting, and watching the video again, that's exactly what you were doing. I don't think you were advocating for one versus the other so much as trying to understand, you know, within the context of what we were discussing with a single driveway, you know, what you could do. So just for the record, that's what I heard. I think I heard it at the last meeting, but I definitely heard it watching it, you know, today and for this. And I would be surprised if I was the person who said that you were trying to pull a fast one, because that's not where I was coming from at all. So, but if you interpreted that, and if I in fact said it, which I don't think I did, my apologies for sure.
I appreciate it. What I'm getting at is that in tonight's meeting, neither one of you brought this up until I brought it up. Instead, you went to the permit and discussed what was written by the engineer, which we've already discussed in the prior meeting. And then you went to the the meeting where he was involved instead of me being involved and discuss what he had said. Neither one of you brought up the fact that you were misquoting what I had said in the prior meeting. So I had to bring it up. I had to make sure that you folks put it on the record that you have made those comments that you were incorrect. So you do as you decide. I've had my say, and thank you very much.
Yeah, Mark, I attributed his quotes to you, and I made a mistake. I'm sorry.
Appreciate it. I take your apology and we'll move forward.
Okay, so it's written now as a single family dwelling. I mean, I guess my principal reservation about allowing it to go to duplex is the amount of traffic that would go through there, would go through the driveway. And then the narrowness of the driveway, which we're trying to achieve to preserve the rock walls and the trees and use the existing alignment. You know, I just got it in my head after that first meeting that we were talking about a single family dwelling, and I kind of convinced myself that the driveway would be adequate to handle one house. So I don't know. For me, it's just trying to figure out whether we want to have a duplex on a driveway like that. And then we also have the technicality that the application that came to us was written as a single family application. And do we, in the middle of this process, have the ability to up that to something else? So.
I don't think there's any question you have the ability to up it if you want to. I don't think there's anybody, myself included, that thinks that that's a good idea. I think that a single family house on this lot with that size driveway makes the most sense. It'll be the least amount of traffic for the neighbor, and it'll be the least cumbersome on the road and traveling back and forth on this reduced size driveway. My intention now is to sell it. I don't want to live there. So if I do sell the parcel, when I do sell the parcel, if the person who buys it wants to come back because they want a duplex or they want a single family residence with a separate adjacent dwelling unit 75 feet from the house or something of that fashion, they can come back to the board and ask for it. I think at that point you can discuss having a larger driveway and following the regulations that are put in place for this special permit on driveways instead of having to go use the driveway special permit that I'm going for through the ZBA. I have all the paperwork done for the ZBA sitting on my desk. There's unfortunately restrictive hours as to when I can drop it off. I'm told it's Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 till 2. I've been much busier than I anticipated and other things I'm doing and have not been able to get to the town hall, but I do have I made 6 copies. I don't know if I think you only said there's 4 members, but I made 6 copies of everything. And I have the digital copy to send to you folks as well. So as soon as I can get up there on a Tuesday or a Thursday, I'll drop those off so we can start the driveway process to get the smaller driveway. If the single driveway is being approved, I agree a single family house makes the most sense on the lot. If, as I said, to reiterate, if the person purchasing it from me wants to do more than that, then that's up to them to come to you folks and talk about putting a wider driveway and maybe a little more camouflage to the neighbor's house. I still would like to be able to do something for the neighbor, even if I'm doing the 8-foot driveway, a 9-foot driveway in that area next to the house that doesn't change the view he currently has, but he will be seeing a car. They will be seeing a car going by pretty irregularly, I would guess, but it's something I said I would do, and I'll keep my word on that, whether we're changing the road, putting a larger structure in there sometime if somebody goes for that change, or if we're leaving it as an 8 or 9 foot wide driveway. I would like to be able to make sure I put that in for the young man who came in front of the board, as I said I would do. So I don't know if it makes any difference to the board or not, but I'm not asking for anything more than the single family dwelling. I think my engineer set that in stone when he made the mistake on the permit. And it was sent out to neighbors and the rest. I don't think it's fair to change it at this point. All I asked for the meeting before the last was to have an understanding of what would be allowed by a permit allowed by this permit if you guys allowed it to be to the max it's allowed. So I don't think anybody's, I'm not questioning it. I think that that's the right way to go.
Okay, it sounds like we've gotten past the issue of single-family dwelling. What about this condition number 6, the vegetative barrier? One thing I can't remember is whether this was linked to, might have come up, whether this was linked to whether you're going to use the existing alignment or whether you were going to run it down the center and take out a bunch of trees and then you needed to do this. And what's the neighbor's understanding? Is this going to be in place regardless of where the driveway goes, or?
Yeah, so I went back and listened to the tape on that again too, Jeff, and he had been concerned. He had a name for it. I can't remember, but he said something about massive destruction or super highway or something. And putting that 14-foot wide swath through the middle of that would be a lot of removal of tree and the rest. And that's what he was concerned with. And I said, I'll put the arbs in or give you some sort of fee to allow you to be able to decide how you want to handle it. At the end of that conversation with him, I said, look, even if it's an 8-foot wide or whatever it is, driveway where it is now, you're still going to be encumbered by cars driving by that window, which currently isn't a window, but that area where there's a bedroom. And I said, I will put the arbs in regardless of whether I will follow what I've suggested, which was putting the arbs in or make a monetary contribution to them, either one, if I'm doing either driveway. So I'm going to stand by what I said to him. I don't think he was expecting that as long as the driveway was where it is now. But I understand when his grandmother built that house all those years ago, there wasn't the understanding that a car would ever be driving by there. So they put it up, the house really close to my boundary line, closer than would be allowed obviously now. And now all of a sudden there's a special permit that could allow that. So I think it's only fair that I put the shrubs in or give him a monetary compensation to be able to maybe do some work on his deck and garage doors and other things he needs to do to that house that might be more important to him than seeing a car go by. So I'm trying to do something that is positive. Obviously it's self-serving, but it's also positive for him, trying to be neighborly to make sure that he understands, I understand the issue. There will be vehicles going by that were not expected. So either way, I will put in the shrubbery or give him some sort of monetary remuneration that will allow him to put shrubs in himself, save some money, use the rest on his house, wherever he wants to do.
Okay, so the way this condition reads is you're going to do the arborvitae bushes, and it specifies from where to where. And the way this condition gets lifted is if you come back in with evidence of an agreement with the neighbor, a monetary agreement, then we have the ability to strike or waive this.
Jeff, I just have a wording question at the
Sure.
very end.
Yeah.
It seems like we don't have to strike the condition because the condition is either A or B.
It's met, yeah.
So I think you could just say in such case, the evidence of such agreement should be brought to the planning board. This condition will be met, period.
Yeah, sounds good.
Or this condition is met, yeah.
Yeah.
Will be. How's that?
Sure.
Why use less words when you use more?
I know people who might object to that one.
Explains a lot about the state.
I learned that while working for the state.
I kind of thought maybe.
Okay, so we're good on this condition the way it reads now with a slight alteration there. Take that away. Okay.
You had one above it, right? Something in the middle.
Huh? Oh. I think this can stay now. I was worried about the width of the driveway, but if it's gonna follow the alignment and be for a single family dwelling, then 8 and 9 is fine, as far as I'm concerned.
Is there two L's in travel?
Nope.
Number three, the second word in is traveled, 2 L's.
Well, let's see.
I don't know.
I'll take
Maybe
one,
it is.
I'll take
Yeah.
one out, see what happens. Oh my goodness, it's so good.
Never trust Microsoft or anything.
Yeah.
Well, he might have accidentally added it to the dictionary.
So. I don't, are we, if we're complete, I'd be pleased to make a motion, if that's okay, Deacon.
You make a motion, I'll ask for discussion after it's seconded and if it's too early, it's too early, but
Okay, hey, Jeff, go to the very top so I can make a motion that,
All right, hold
Is there-
hold on, I'm just seeing, all right. So this is, so if we make a motion, this is Deacon signing here for the planning board.
okay, just go to the top so I can
Yep.
be specific. So I will move to approve a special permit to Mr. Mark Whiteman for development on town parcel H151 as discussed at these meetings. Case number 22003.
Second.
discussion?
Robert, I'm in support of the motion. I do want to add, I was not here at the prior meeting, but am satisfied based upon what I've heard that I'm clear in my position, but I want to put that out in case
The,
absence disqualifies me.
No,
the 5 people who can vote must have been at the January 11th and the February 13th public hearing. Not necessarily our deliberatory meeting, but that you must have attended those 2 hearings.
Okay, I was not at the February hearing.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
I didn't hear that.
well, I mean, that's still all right, because Steve Bressler was. Right?
All right,
One, two,
February 13th meeting. I
Uh-huh.
think it was the March meeting that I was not at.
Yeah, so we're good. So we have 5.
So
So Robert and Jeff can both abstain and we'll still be okay.
Robert, you're sure you weren't at the February meeting there?
I was not.
You sure?
Yeah, no, I don't know, I
it would,
guess I got confused.
minutes.
I thought we had the full attendance during the actual hearing. I knew we were missing both Steve and Robert when we had the deliberation last month, but anyway.
Well, we can check the meeting, maybe
I
Carrie
mean,
can,
I believe Robert that he wasn't there. I just,
Yeah.
yeah,
Where Deacon is going is you can always check the meeting minutes.
yeah.
I'm doing it right now. Let's see.
Yeah. So I got one question while you're checking the meeting. Is an 8 to 9 foot driveway okay with the fire department to get their truck in there if they need? I just don't know what the width of a fire truck is.
Well, yes, you can get a fire truck in there. Yes, a fire truck is not that wide.
Okay.
It's, it's gonna be a tight fit where it necks down, but if it's 8 or 9 feet, then yes, it'll go in. Now, the fire department argued strenuously for the 12 foot, which is kind of wider than anybody's driveway in Shutesbury. I mean, I've plowed 30 of them, and I can tell you that there's none that are 12 feet wide. So yeah, it is. It's a little bit of a squeeze, but I mean, the truck's not going to hit anything.
Okay, that's all. I just had no idea what a fire truck requires, so thanks.
Carrie, you want to confirm?
Yeah, I was wondering if the question was if Robert was or was not at the February 13th meeting, because I can confirm that he was not.
Great. And Steve, I think I would go with Jeff's comment about the driveway width, because if we revisit that, it opens up a huge humongous can of worms that none of us want to go to.
Okay,
I mean,
Okay.
yeah, Steve, the mirrors on the fire trucks might extend more than 8 or 9 feet, but that just involves clearing, stuff up above. The wheelbase will fit in there.
okay. That's all. Like I said, I have no clue. I've never gone around with a tape measure measuring the width of a fire truck.
So more discussion? Anybody want to say anything else before I call the roll?
I guess not.
Okay. Steve Bressler,
Aye,
Jeff Weston,
Aye.
Nathan Murphy,
Aye.
Michael DeCara,
Aye.
I'm an I. So
You should
Robert is not, I'm sorry?
you should get the abstentions on record.
Yeah, that's where we're going. So Robert is ineligible to vote, so what, do we call that an abstention or?
Abstain.
Thank you. Thank you. And Jeff,
Same.
and I'm an I, so I think we have it.
And I guess I just like to, at the end of it, Mark, sorry if it got bumpy and. you feel
It's not
inappropriate.
easy. I don't,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I just, you guys put a lot, especially you. I mean, Michael, you guys put so much time into this. It's amazing. It's a difficult process. You guys have a vision for what you want to see the town be, as I understand it. People like myself who own land have a vision for what we want to see on our land. Sometimes they conflict. There are some things I would have loved to have done over there, as we've discussed in the prior years, that I think would be wonderful for the town over there, but not things that are allowed by zoning. So, this is what I know, and I think it'll be an addition. As Jeff said, when we walked the land that day, it would be a wonderful place for a good sized house, which would be helpful to the tax base. So I hope it'll be something that'll be positive for the town, and I appreciate all your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll get that in the mail, I guess. Is that how it works?
Well, I need to get it to Deacon because he signs it.
Mhm.
So I'll print something out and get it to Deacon, and then it goes to the town clerk and it sits for 20 days during the appeal period. And once that appeal period is over, she'll so indicate on the bottom of the permit, and that's when you'll get it and you can record it and act on it.
Yeah, and it'll be sent to me, or should I pick it up? I mean, some towns send them, some towns I've found have you come pick it up. So just let me know if I need to pick it up. Let her know. I'll be happy to come get it.
I think we send them.
I think you do, but
Well, I believe in the past, we've
Carrie's got her hand up. I think she knows what's going on.
Yeah, so typically I do mail it. If you'd prefer to pick it up, I can do that as well, but if
No.
mailing works, I can do that.
mail's fine. Thank you, Carrie.
No problem.
All right. On to bigger and better. For you folks, I'm going to bed.
Good
Have a
night.
good night.
Thank you.
Night, Mark.
Night.
Good night.
Okay. So, well, we have two remaining things, possible amendments and a Community Preservation Commission member.
So, on the amendments, since I've been the mover of some of these, I would just say, given what we have on tap, I think it'd be crazy to consider amendments in the very near future. So, and it's already April. So,
Yeah, it's too late.
yeah.
Okay, so,
I just, it's probably too late. I have a question I want to just ask on the topic. you know, it's come to my attention that there's no cell phone service at Shutesbury Elementary School. And, you know, that might be, well, outside of our purview, but, does anyone have any thoughts on, what the proper, channel would be for, getting something in there to get cell phone service at the school?
Well, Mary Lou has her hand up, but the one thing I don't know enough about it, Nathan, but you know, short of building a tower in the back fields, which would be a whole process, I mean, one could get extenders, you know, so like at the beginning of the pandemic, I got an extender for my house, so I now have cell signal, but it's sort of Wi-Fi based, but
Right, yeah, no, I have one in my house, so.
yeah, so I mean, I think that's totally outside of the planning board, but it's a way of facilitating the process. Or you pick the school up and move it, you know, to the other side of West Pell and you'll get a signal.
Right. Anyone else have any insight on that, or?
Well, I would have comments in terms of putting a cell phone tower anywhere near a school because of the radiation involved with the kids, young kids' brains. So I don't know what the distance are, the safe distances are, and even if we know what they are, because we don't know the cumulative effect of that radiation on little brains because they hasn't been around long enough. But I would certainly be against any cell phone tower that would have any chance of damaging or affecting our young children.
All right,
Okay.
Ashley, you wanna,
I think Mary Lou had her hand up first.
Thank you, Deacon. I want to thank Mr. Weston for saying that. My heart is pounding right now just on the very idea of this. Because I went to a Zoom and there were people there from all across the United States. And there was a mother who came forward and they put a cell tower on her child's school and they didn't tell anybody in the building. Okay, so the child started getting problems and he wound up with brain cancer. And then 3 other children in the school came down with brain cancer. And then so did 4 of the teachers in the building. And they finally convinced the district to take that cell tower off the building. So, yeah, I would hope Shutesbury, I hope, I'm very upset that the cell tower down the road from me has been activated and placed. I mean, they should not be in residential areas at all. So thank you,
Mary Lou,
Deacon.
do you have the name of that school?
The name of that school, I
Yeah.
can send you, Nathan, the whole Zoom. I have it somewhere. I have to look it up in my archives. It was not in Massachusetts. It was either Michigan or California. There were lawyers at this meeting. It was through this woman, Cece Dowsett. She's Massachusetts and then it's the number 4, Safe Technology. She sponsored that whole Zoom, but I'll send it to you guys. I'll send you the meeting
Thank
if
you.
I haven't already. The Board of Health may have it.
All right.
Again, thank you, Deacon, for letting me speak.
Oh. Okay, so I think Ashley's next.
I'm quick on this. I believe my words to my class of seniors today was, I hate cell phones. They're ruining public education. So like, I think it's a beautiful thing that Shutesbury Elementary does not have cell phone service. My kid went through there. It was awesome. That said, I see the safety issue. You know, we lose power up here a lot. And so the ability and, you know, can lose the phone lines. I wonder about just an extender in the main office. just if kids needed to go in and use it in an
Yeah,
emergency
I'm not so much,
situation.
interested in kids being on their cell phone in the school. It's more, yeah, for.
Oh, but they will be if there's cell service. Believe
Yeah,
me.
that's- Okay, that's interesting,
Yeah. But, and it's not, I don't know that it's a planning board thing, but just that I'd put in my
yeah,
2
no,
cents.
it might not be. Doesn't sound like it is.
Carrie,
I also just wanted to add really quick that Mary Lou had also sent a PDF about the cell phone towers to planning board yesterday. So that's also there. It's like, I think it's like a 25-page PDF.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I can say one more thing, on a side note, I taught for 37 years, and so way before cell phone and during cell phone, and it really I know this is sort of off topic, but the kids are really addicted to them, and it's really interferes with the learning process. So I think it's a wonderful thing, actually, if there's no immediate cell phone service for our elementary school students. I think that's a beautiful thing, and that's something that I would prefer, actually. I know that's off topic. That's my own personal opinion, but
No, that's
being in the
fair
classroom
game, Jeff.
being in the
game.
classroom for 37 years, that's the way I feel.
Yeah, I was mostly coming at it from the parents' perspective of, being able to communicate, if you're at the school, and I had not thought so much about, the other end of that with, the kids being on the phone. And I would also be very much concerned about that aspect of it with you, Jeff and Ashley. So thanks for bringing that to my attention.
I think it's
I'm
good.
skeptical about the the radiation concerns, but I'm open to hearing information about it, but I'll see what's on record here.
Yeah, I think it could be fortuitous, actually, for our children.
Fortuitous?
Fortuitous, in other words, a positive thing, not to have easy access to cell phone service.
Right, yeah, no, for the children, I would agree with you, yeah.
Yeah.
It changes when they go down the hill.
Yeah, yeah.
All of a sudden, they've got signal.
So we done talking about cell phones?
I guess so, yeah.
There's a
No,
school
I was
committee
just
meeting,
kinda
right?
Curious, it's like,
Because I got an email from the chair of the Community Preservation Commission saying that Jake Messier is leaving the CPC. So we need to think about putting up someone else.
And having been the CPC rep for a few years, I'll just chime in. They meet once a month. There's a whole process of, applications come in, I think, late fall and then get considered in the winter in preparation for town meeting. It's usually through projects. The town bylaw, I think it's regulation, basically has representatives. So there's a planning board rep, there's a select board rep. The CPC does recreation, housing, and open space. And so the representation is someone who can talk to housing. We don't have a housing department or housing committee, so it's a delegate. Someone for open space and recreation represents that component. And then planning board and select board, just because of our perspective. The one thing I would say, because I think prior to me doing it, there was not a lot of takers. It doesn't have to be a planning board member. So if no one's really excited about this, we could also see if someone wants to represent the planning board. And so we can actually, they're good conversations, and having people share perspectives is good. So if we don't want to step up, maybe we can figure out someone who we feel comfortable with. And then vote to approve them as our representative. I'm assuming there's no takers.
Yeah. Well, why don't I just advance this to the next meeting? My guess is it's too late for someone to be really helpful this year anyway.
Yeah, I think it's between now and town meeting, there's really, I think that maybe the public hearing happened, but there's there's no reason to have anyone do anything until September,
Yeah.
work-wise.
So I'll just move it forward on the agenda. I was hoping we could break early.
Even I am interested in that. This is the third planning board meeting of the evening, so I'm.
And
good with
another
it.
one next week, maybe.
I was hoping that we could stay till
I think it's a little too early to break, guys. It's like 8:15. Can't we make it to at least 8:30 for God's sake?
God, let's celebrate. I mean, yeah. So do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion?
I only want to wish Jeff Weston well with his knee.
Oh, yeah.
Same.
Good luck, Jeff.
Good
Thank
luck,
you.
Jeff.
Thank
I
you.
had a meniscectomy.
I'm afraid to ask what that is.
It's removal of torn knee meniscus.
Oh, it's like you and Bobby Orr, I think.
Oh, it's very common surgery, the meniscectomy. They just tear away the loose flaps that are interfering with the movement of the knee. And it feels a lot better afterwards,
Oh, good, good.
but it's not a knee replacement.
I'm actually, thanks for asking. I'm actually excited. I have the knee, the head of knee replacement at Brigham and Women's doing it. So I'm actually, he's a great guy. I asked him how many he does. He said he does 350 a year. So
Wow.
that's a good number for me.
Is that Murphy?
No, it isn't Murphy. I think Murphy was at New England Baptist. This guy was at New England Baptist for 5 years, and then they pulled him out and made him the head of knee replacement at Brigham and Women's. It's a guy named Vivek Shah, who has a great reputation. I've met with him, and I'm ready to go.
So how, I'm just curious, because I'm in the queue somewhere. How many years of suffering did you have before they let you do it?
Well, that's a good question. I had an ACL replacement when I was 33 that got massively infected in Springfield. And then I found out recently when I had an MRI that I don't have an ACL. So I'm guessing that because of the massive infection, I've lived for 33 years without an anterior cruciate ligament, which as a result, my knee is non-existent. So,
Wow.
I've done PT on this for 33 years. But now there are some times where I can't even turn in bed. And that was the,
Wow.
and that was the thing that moved me to getting a knee replacement. But thanks for asking.
Well,
I can recommend someone if you want to. I mean,
Let me interrupt. I was only kidding about us having to go to 8:30,
Well, Jeff, here's words of encouragement. My mother, who last year was 95, had hers done.
really?
Yes, so you
Really?
can do it.
Okay. Well, thank you. I don't think it can be much worse than it is right now. So I'm looking forward to, being able to move better again. Thank you for asking. Thank you for your concern. And if I don't survive, it's been nice being a member of the planning board.
We'll ask you again next week. How you doing?
All right. Well, best of luck with that.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Take care, all.
Bye-bye.
Wait, we didn't vote. We didn't vote.
Oh, right.
You want me to call the roll? Okay, Steve Bressler,
Aye.
Jeff Weston,
Aye.
Robert Raymond,
Aye.
Nathan Murphy,
Aye.
Jeff Lacy,
Aye.
Michael DeCara.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Thank you all.
Good night.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
I know.